Hello, hello. I am sorry I am late today. I had to fix some of my stream settings to change where my videos were being saved because I ran out of space and I did not realize it. So, sorry, I'm moving around a little bit. All right. Today we're going to work a little bit more, burning more leaves, having more fun with that. Not terrifying at all. Let's see. For protection, always ready. I'm gonna wick down a little bit just because it's kind of high. Which honestly, the bigger flame makes it a little bit easier to burn some of these, but at the same time, I would rather be safe. So, that instead. Also, I have some coffee. I just made it. I'm very excited. Well, I say I just made it. Made it like an hour ago, popped it in the freezer, and now I have iced coffee. Because I don't actually have ice. Alright. Yeah, the only bad side about these is that it's so difficult to keep them untangled, especially after they've been burnt. It's like right now the leaves are kind of soft and they're a little bit more easy to move, but once they're burnt and shriveled, it's like the plastic in it gets harder. So it's a lot more difficult to keep how it's supposed to be. Actually, I want to keep the lighter down here because I'm trying to be a little bit more safe, and I'm just going to start blowing it out every time instead of trying to shake it if it gets to be a little more extreme. So hopefully the sound will not bother anyone. I have to get back into my rhythm. It's gonna take me a minute to remember how I did this so quickly. It's like I had a good grasp on it, and then I stopped doing it for a day or so. I did get through quite a lot of them, though. I say that. I got 9, I think 9 total. Is not nearly fast enough. So I'm gonna end up probably only doing some of the leaves in that withered look, and the rest are probably just gonna be as is, which is totally fine. I'm not too worried about it. And whenever I put them side by side, it didn't make a huge difference. So it's not something I'm gonna be really concerned with. It's like, it's a cool effect for some of them, but it does not have to be all. And honestly, I might just start like skipping and only doing some. That actually is a good idea. I might just start doing that. I might just do some of these and not all of them. It's like not only for aesthetic reasons, but for time reasons. I can't do this. So yeah, these are a lot harder to keep from getting stuck and tangled. The plastic is harder, and less forgiving than the fabric is. So, okay, let's start doing that then. Not all of them, but a few. And thankfully, fewer of these are catching on fire than whenever I first started doing this. So I think I'm getting a little bit better at it. It's good. Kind of just every once in a while just burn. It's like I don't want to be super rigid and be like, okay, every single other one, that one will be a bit more. That one really caught fire. Hello. That was interesting. It's fine. Yeah, I actually think I like this a lot more than burning every single one. It's like you have a nice little variation what is and isn't burned, so it's not a super consistent, it has to look a certain way type thing, which is nice. I kind of wish I had thought of it, because I do like it. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot better, I think. I think that's the fun part about cosplay, is that you just wing it as things come. The best. Changing plans midway through is not a bad thing. Being flexible. Important life skill, both cosplay and in real life. So I guess cosplay is kind of beneficial in that aspect. I found it really interesting. At one point, I remember seeing a post about how cosplay was actually something that you should try and apply to real life, like for resumes. And at first I was like, I don't know about that. That sounds kind of weird. Most people think dress up isn't very professional. But they brought up some really good points. It's like with cosplay, you have to have certain deadlines that you have to meet. So you're good with deadlines, you're good at prioritizing, you're good at organizing what you have to do. Plus it also teaches obviously problem solving skills, which is a huge thing, especially in the workplace. It's like every workplace has its problems, so you get to have someone who knows how to think out of the box and find new solutions to things. So I think it's good. I've thought about that a lot now, and even though I'm not working at the moment, it's definitely something I'm going to try and put on my resume in a professional manner if possible. That kind of helps with that. And it certainly is a very good conversation starter, I think. But hey, that's just me. I am not a hiring manager. I hope to never be a hiring manager. Or a manager of any sort, to be honest. I am not manager material, and I am very much okay with that. Managers have way too much work to do, and for me, I very much am a I leave work at work and play at play type of person. So I am very okay never taking that's too much work. Wow, yeah, no, I definitely like the way this looks a lot more than burning every one of them. Plus, I mean, obviously it goes a lot faster, there's less work. There's leaves to burn. I was kind of trying to figure out if I should paint these before I burn them, or if I should burn them and then paint them. It's like there's pros and cons of both of them. Pros of burning them first. I am very I'm having a good time setting things on fire, so I'm very motivated to do this right now. Painting, not so much. Painting is fun, but it's also messy, and ironically, I'm incredibly messy. I'm very disorganized, but I'm having a good time doing this, so I'm super motivated to do this right now. But the con of doing the burning first is that it's harder to get in all these little crevices versus a flat thing like this. And I did do some tests where I burned, I painted the leaves first and then I burned them to see if it had any kind of effect on the paint, and it really didn't. Appearance-wise, it looked still pretty good. So I probably should be painting them first, but I don't know. I feel like that's going to come back to bite me, honestly. I definitely should be thinking about timing better than what I kind of want to do for fun at the moment. Which sounds bad, but it's like, even with fun, you have to have some priorities. So, I don't know. I might switch to painting. But for now, I'm gonna set some things on fire until I get tired of it. Which is perfectly fine with me, obviously. Wow, yeah, I wish I had thought about doing alternating leaves whenever I first started this. Because I just have a pile of leaves that are burnt and don't look that great now that I see how this looks. But it's okay. Live and you learn. Plus I have a ton of these already set aside, or that haven't been a ton of vines. So there's always time to sit. So whenever I originally ordered these, there were a couple different options for leaves. One of them was kind of like a, so I couldn't tell you exactly what kind it was, but part of me was like, I really kind of want to get this because variety would look, but at the same time, like, I'm already gonna have so much of it. Probably don't have a variety of leaves. Like, I like the shape that this has for this costume in particular. So I just went with this, but I'm kind of curious how this would have turned out if I had done a variety instead of just one single type. I didn't like the leaf shape as much, like on an aesthetic level, like a rounded shape versus the little ivy shape that this. Well, I mean, I suppose both of them would be considered ivy. Again, I don't know plants very well, so this shape is pretty to me. Pretty things make goblin bring goat. Alright, and there's one done. Wow, yeah, that definitely looks a lot better. But it's alright. Live and learn. On to the next ones. Try not to get my phone cord tangled lines. There. Okay. Oh, come on. That was the bad part about this. I knew going into this that it was going to be very difficult to keep these from getting tangled like constantly, but it's like, no, I have a handle on it. And then me 60 vines later, I don't even know how many feet of vines this is. Each one is like 7 feet, I think, something like that. I don't think it's 2 meters. I think it's 7 feet. I was like, no, no, it's totally fine. I can absolutely handle that much in one small area. But no, it's very, very messy and very tangly. Looks cool though. This looks like a. I'm hoping that I get these painted, it will look a little bit more like what I'm. I know he needs his leaves. I know, I know, I know. I'm waiting. So most of these have like at least one leaf that's kind of doubled up, and I'm waiting to find those so that I can pull it off and put it in the water for my Magikarp. Here, I'll do this. Let's take. I hope that works for him. I was gonna say I would type, but I don't want to be playing with fire too much. Let me tell him that. Okay. That works. It goes so much faster when I'm not doing it. Oh my word. I'm kind of wondering if I even need to paint these withered ones, because whenever I burn them, they get this char anyways. They turn a little bit black from the smoke. I don't know. Probably still should at least do like the main parts and leave some of it green. Because I know this vine itself is... So I got spray paint. I got Plastidip to paint these with. Just because it's plastic, it's going to adhere to plastic, and it doesn't scratch off of the vine if like something rubs up against it. But whenever I was painting yesterday, I discovered that a can of spray paint will only cover about 9 vines, which is not at all eco-friendly because I have like 60 of these suckers. So I will not be spray painting them. I will be finding another way to do that. And I'm most likely going to end up going with acrylic paint, which is my second favorite option. Only reason I didn't do it before is because the acrylic paint doesn't really bond to the plastic on the like the vine plastic here, and if something rubbed against it, it would kind of scratch off, which was not ideal. But honestly, looking back at the parts that I did paint with the spray paint, it already is missing a whole bunch of sections. Just the nature of spray paint, unfortunately, is kind of spotty. So I'm gonna have to go back anyways and do some hand painting, which isn't a big deal. I enjoy painting, it's kind of soothing, but also a little bit boring, especially when compared to setting things. So I'll end up painting them, most likely with acrylic paint. I might see if there's some other types of paint that I can use that will adhere to plastic better, but for now, that's kind of what I'm gonna go with. I feel like this is also better health-wise because I am not wearing a mask with this, and I got 3 things of vines. 2 of them I just bought, and one of them I had bought years back previously. and they're very, very different in terms of like composition. So whenever I burned the ones that I had previously, they didn't leave any or they didn't let off any kind of odor. They didn't smell bad, and like the vines were kind of like smooth. These are a lot rougher. They have a lot more like sharp edges on them, and whenever I burn this, it kind of lets off a chemically odor, which I am very sure is. So I've been trying to take breaks between doing this, and I know I should be wearing a mask. Please don't come at me, but I can't do it right now, especially whenever I'm streaming. Whenever I'm not streaming, I try and do it a little more, but while streaming, it's a pain because it's already hard for my mic to pick me up constantly. So I'd rather just kind of that I'm not going to get sick from this. But there have been no like physical issues. I haven't had headaches or anything like that, other than like a caffeine headache because I am addicted to coffee. But it's only been with this costume that I've become addicted to coffee again. There was a while where I went to Starbucks way, way, way too much. But granted, that was during school, college, and your girl was struggling a lot. This is also pre-pandemic, so I ended up doing a lot of my studying there, and I was like, well, I can't just sit here and use their internet. I have to buy some. So I bought... and that kind of spiraled out of control. And then I stopped going to Starbucks altogether. I still don't really go to Starbucks, but ironically the coffee that I use now is a K-Cup, and it's Starbucks coffee because I am a slave to capitalism. I do need to figure out this whole situation. So I'm recording all of my streams and keeping them so that I can do time lapses and I can do like a progress video on how I make things. But it also is taking up an absurd amount of space, and I'm trying to decide how to circumvent that. So I could do it at a lower quality video, but I don't want to do I kind of want to keep it higher quality because I already struggle with quality issues with videos, so I could take off the audio, which I don't plan to have audio in the time lapses anyways. It's just a lot of processing to get that done, and I don't know. I'm still kind of new to this whole thing. I don't know how much space audio takes up versus video. I know video obviously takes a whole heck of a lot, but I don't know if cutting out the audio is going to help that or not. It scared me. I'm surprised though, I haven't found any more. So it's like a lot of times there will be two leads like stacked on top of each other just because production, it's not perfect. But I have not found one. It's surprising. Normally it's like one or two. Also, I stole my partner's chair. He has like one of the nice gaming chairs, and mine is an office chair that I have had like a decade now. And it's incredibly strange because this chair actually has the armrest on the side of it, which I'm not used to. So I always cross my legs whenever I'm just sitting for periods of time. It is not good for my knees, but it is how I have always sat. So it's kind of strange trying to do that with armrests because it's just get in the way. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, there's one. So we're averaging like 10 minutes of Vine, which is not bad. Um, so what, like, I already have quite a few of the vines done. I want to say I'm like a fifth of the way there. That's kind of what I'm gonna guesstimate. Um, and I'm not gonna be doing this to every single one. I don't have the time for that right now. I might go back. I'm definitely gonna go and paint them, but I might go back a little bit later, after submissions are done, and do some more, as I've already tested and seen that the acrylic is fine, so I can go ahead and paint them, rest, take my pictures, and then go back between now and finals if I somehow manage to make it, and do that. Let's see. I say we'll see way too much. It's like I don't I feel like cosplay should be fun. I feel like it shouldn't be something incredibly rigid with specific rules and have to do this way, and like it's a fun hobby. I mean, you're just creating things. And I think whenever you make, like, this has to look exactly like this and this has to be done a specific way, it kind of takes the fun out of it. But kind of on the same note, I absolutely love trying to recreate something as accurately as I possibly can. I also know that I struggle at doing that, but you know, win some, you learn some. Like, figure out where the heat is coming from the handle, because you can hold it to the side here all day long and burn if the heat is facing the opposite direction. Very interesting thing I did. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I guess if there's like craft in here, especially because the game is so makes sense that the heat is only going to go one way if there's a draft. But I don't fire too often, despite stream name. I was looking online trying to figure out if I could buy some taller candles called taper candles, apparently, which makes sense. I mean, if you candles, it does make sense. Um, but it's like I kind of like that I can just rest my arm like on the table here, and it makes things. Hi, Bithlord, welcome back. And yes, I know, me too. Um, Yoda, someone else in the channel recommended it. They're like, well, if you love Magikarp so much, why not keep them? So I ended up putting them in the bowl so he can chill out with us. Up, go. Gotta sacrifice to. Or, anytime I lose a leaf off of the stem, it goes into despair. There you go. Now it's more of a little pond. I guess it brings me much happiness, much happiness. I love that I can incorporate the child into things. But how are you doing? It's good to see you. Good to see you. Having a very chill night tonight, despite the fire. It is or day. I say night. I am on the East Coast. 7 at this point. Taking a break from streaming to keep my sanity. I do not blame you. Streaming is absolutely exhausting, I have found out. I remember watching these streamers stream for like 8 hours at a time, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't look too hard. I mean, I've had a job before. I have to work like 10 hours at a time. It's fine. And then I try streaming for 4 hours, and I'm like, well, this is absolutely miserable. I am hungry, and I am tired of talking. But I suppose that just comes with being isolated for 2 years during a panini, so it kind of makes sense. But I am glad you're doing all right. About 2.5 hours. Yeah. Yep. Like, I try and remind myself that it's okay to take breaks, but honestly, it's like as long as I eat beforehand and I have some water with me, I generally am okay. I think it's mostly because I'm such, like, I don't have a big crowd. I don't have a whole lot of people talking that I have to keep up with. I think that makes things a lot easier, too. Like, I see the people with thousands of viewers, and I just pray for their sanity. Or not even thousands, just, like, maybe, like, 20 or so people. That's just, I fear for their sanity, but I think they know at this point how to take care of themselves. I'm just like, please make sure you're eating food. Take care of yourselves, my friends. Yeah, I've decided I am no longer burning every single leaf. I am now alternating and just winging it, doing some at a time and skipping others, just because aesthetically it looks nicer, and also mentally it's better for my sanity than trying to burn every single one. Sure, I had more than 10 last night for a short period. That was more than I could keep track of. Yeah. Oh, I don't know how people do it. I think it's something that's learned, and I think that's probably the best part, is that with streaming you start small, and if you end up getting bigger, that's awesome, but you have time to acclimate most of the time. It's like, I could not imagine going from like 3 viewers to 100 in like a week. Because I've seen that happen to some streamers and I'm just like, I am so sorry. Because you don't have time to acclimate. And a lot of the times, the people who are streaming are introverts. So it's immediately just like a wall. I don't know how they do it. But hey, more than 10, congratulations. What were you playing or doing? I suppose is the better question. I know most people on Twitch play games, but I like that there's such a variety of things you can do. Sure. TwitchCon entry. Ah, okay, okay. Very neat. I feel that. I know a lot of people are crunching. It's fun to see just the sheer amount of people who suddenly flocked in this month, myself included. I generally have kept an eye on the Makers channel, but just seeing the amount of people suddenly entering, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So I am very, very excited to see how this goes. I really, really am. Like, I am looking forward to following a whole bunch more people, seeing what's going on, and of course watching the finals. It's every time a bunch of people throw in at the last minute. Yeah. I kind of wish that I streamed more before this. But it just so happened the timing was right, and right after I got out of school and finished with MomoCon, which is the last convention that I went to, I saw someone mention that TwitchCon was a thing, like that costume contest was a thing this year, and I was like, oh, I wonder. So I was like, my savings will let me hold off on getting a job until the deadline is done. So I'm just gonna give it a shot, and my partner's been super supportive throughout the whole thing, which is fantastic. Like, he's letting me chase my dreams. This is actually not my dream. I don't know if I could ever be a content creator full-time. I would probably cry most of the time, but yeah. I'm just to make the finals again, but I'm not holding my breath. Oh, you've made it before? Oh my gosh, that is terrifying. That's awesome though, congratulations. I really hope so. So you're going for larger than life, which is super cool. I am going to try. I've seen the entrance for larger than life in the past, and I know it is incredibly competitive. So I don't have super high hopes if I'm being honest, but this just kind of doesn't fit into any other category. This isn't really needlework. This isn't special effects. I don't know how to do any kind of special effects, to be honest. And it's not armor. And plus, with it being so big with his tail, I'm like, I guess I'm doing larger than life. And it's just, I'm incredibly nervous, but... So when did you make it to the finals? When was the last time you made it to finals? But it's like I'm stressing at this point, because I'm like, I don't think anyone wants to see me constantly talk about this tail or these leaves, but people seem to not mind. 19 I had syrup. Ah, okay. I will have to look that up because I want to see. I actually made it to finals in 2020 and had to back out at the last minute, like right before everything happened. Unfortunately, I was in a really bad like work environment, and it ended up taking a huge mental toll on me, and I had a complete breakdown, and I'm like, I can't do this right now. But I think that was still one of the highlights, is that I made it like to the finals, and then I was like, yeah, no, I can't do this. So I completely embarrassed myself, but it was still a lot of fun, and I met some really cool people that way. So it is definitely interesting how it works. I haven't seen a competition where you have to make it to finals and then you can compete, but I think it's a very cool concept, and I wish more people did it. Like I know WCS is coming up soon, and that's I think the only other convention that I really see that with. I was gonna say, I know there's one more in the US that does that, and I don't remember which one it is. Yep, that's it. C2E2. It kind of ups the ante though. It's like, ooh, you qualified for the finals. Like, ooh, so cool. But it also like pushes you to have a better timeline because generally there's a chunk of space between the qualifiers and the finals, I think. At least I know that's how it is for WCS. Um, so it's like you have that buffer where you have to get things done by a certain time, but then you have that extra time to improve it once you make it that far. Really tough to get in for needlework. For C2E2 or for WCS or just those kind of finals in general. Also, please don't let me distract you. I can absolutely just chatter with myself. I don't want to take you away from your work if you are trying to finish something. C2 especially? Oh, okay. I have never tried. I don't think I would have the guts to try it, honestly. Like, this is a huge stretch for me. Just pulling out pieces so I can figure out what needs to be made next. Yes, absolutely. I try and make a checklist. Checklists are your friends in crunch time. But I also say that as a complete hypocrite, knowing I have not made a checklist. I really need to do that. Once I finish up here, I will probably make a checklist so that I can kind of time myself a little bit better. My strategy thus far has been doing all the little tiny detail pieces so that whenever it comes time for assembly, it's just a quick and simple puzzle piece. Like, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. Which may or may not work. Right. We've gotten 3 done so far, I think. 3 or 4. Some more coffee. I should absolutely not be drinking coffee this late. Oof. It is 7 o'clock, but I got a grand total of 2 hours of sleep last night. So I think it is justified. But I'm surprisingly awake, which is unusual. Generally, if I am lacking sleep, I am a zombie and I cannot function most of the time. Or if I'm functioning, it's just on autopilot. So the fact that I'm actually streaming and talking and engaged in conversation is a feat for me, and I am quite proud of myself. And I just started drinking this coffee, so it's not the coffee. So, yay me. I'm gonna scoot this chair up a little bit so I can kind of chill. So I've been trying to lean forward this whole time. I'm trying to get better posture because my posture is atrocious. But I'm not feeling like being a productive person. I am feeling like being a croissant, so we're going to slouch and relax and just chill. I'd actually move this a little bit closer. just because I don't want to be messing around too much with fire. There we go. Oh, this is so nice. This is so cozy. I love this. Doing stuff like this makes me really miss the olden days. So back whenever I first started cosplay, I started cosplay in 2014. Or no, 2014? I started in 2009. In 2009, I wasn't sewing my own costumes. I started sewing in 2012. And entered my first competition that year and won a judge's award. And from then, it's just been a history where I've loved competing. You meet so many cool people that way. You really, really do. It's like they are all creative and they're all motivated and super excited, and it's absolutely lovely talking with everyone. That's what I really miss about competitions. Anyways, that was a little tangent, but whenever I first started cosplay, people would have like these little parties where you would just go and you would craft and you'd hang out and you'd socialize. And I think that's what I'm trying to mimic. If I'm being completely honest, I'm trying to mimic that whenever I'm doing streaming. Because I'm like, oh no, we're just hanging out. We're just having a little sewing party. It's fine. And we're not like thousands of miles away in different countries. Never gonna meet probably. So yeah. But my first costume is spend time with my partner and then things snowballed. Oh, that's awesome. It's always cool to hear how people got into cosplay. It's like either something incredibly off the wall or just sweet like yours. Like, I love it. It makes me happy. I'm trying to get my boy into cosplay so that I can cosplay with him and I can make him costumes, because I don't actually like showing myself in costumes, which is kind of, what's the word? I don't know the word off the top of my head. It's a little bit weird, I think, because I don't know. I have zero self-confidence, and I'm okay saying that, because for me, I don't like the way I look, and I am totally okay with that. It took me a long time to be okay with that, but it's like whenever I go and people are like, "Oh, can I take a picture?" I'm like, "Why would you want a picture? Please no, please no." And then I'm like, "Oh no, the costume." So I'm like, maybe I should just make costumes for other people, but I'm also afraid to do commissions because I'm afraid they're going to be like, "This sucks. Why did you make it like this?" And then I'm like, "I'm so sorry. Please take all your money. I'll even pay you." But I figure if I can make cosplays for my partner, then I can live vicariously through the love that he's getting. Oh, sorry. I started competing because I figured apply for TwitchCon, which the worst I could do is say no, and then I got in. Yeah, yeah. It's like, that is the thing, is that think about the worst case scenario, and if it's not something that will be seriously detrimental to you, I always say go for it. Like, apply for a job that you don't think you're qualified for, ask for that raise, go to that place, do that hobby. Life is too short to be boring. It really, really is. But yeah, you get me, you get me. And that is not at all trying to like compliment bait. I hate whenever people think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm like, no, absolutely not. It just, I'm excited about this cosplay, mostly because Aldrich has a mask. Like, half of his face is covered with a mask. And because of COVID, the bottom half will be covered as well. So I can just be like, yes, look at this dress. It's gonna be great. So I'm very excited about that. I need to find more cosplays that have masks so I can feel more confident in cosplay. Because, I don't know. I feel like I would have so much more fun if I wasn't worried about how I looked. Like, I unfortunately grew up being a complete nerd, so I never did the whole selfie thing. I was always in band practice and just not super big on the whole socializing thing. And it was good. I mean, I had so much fun doing it, but I do kind of wish that I had more pictures of myself, so I had learned how to pose or something like that. It's like another thing that takes practice that I just don't want to put the effort into. Same with art. Let's see. Dress in the in the bee butt. Yes, I'm so excited. I want to do one of those big foam armor builds, but hate foam too much. I feel that so hard. I feel that so hard. I used to work with foam at my old job. I used to work with orthotics and prosthetics. So I used to like build like foam inserts. I used to build fake legs and arms and stuff like that. We used a lot of different types of materials, like plastics and foams and just crazy stuff. And so I learned a lot of skills that way, actually. And I kind of got a feel for it. And then I realized just how much I hate foam from doing that. The whole selfie thing, one of the benefits and downfalls of proto-internet. I get that. It's like I don't know, my generation was like at the very, very tail end. I am 27. I'm about to turn 28 in about a week now. So I was kind of late to that. We didn't really do the whole selfie thing. The closest our generation really, or my age group really got to selfies was the emo movement, where everyone was like raw and took photos like completely above their head. That was our version of selfies. So we didn't really have the duck lips as much. That wasn't, I think that was a little bit after us. But again, I didn't really pay attention, so I don't know. It might have been us. Oh, shut my mouth. No. Turned 40 this year. Oh, that's awesome. I love that cosplay is not specifically only for people who are like 25 and under. Because it used to be that way. It's like a lot of people who were older didn't do it. They're like, oh, I'm gonna get judged, or I'm too old for this. And it's like, no, absolutely not. It is so much more fun to cosplay when you're older, because you can use all of your money and send it to cosplay, and it's so fun. But no, my old job was orthotics and prosthetics, so I went to school for it. I got an associate's degree in OMP, and I used to work in a clinic with a little fabrication lab in the back. And God, it was so much fun. I legitimately had fun in that field. We used to do so much interesting stuff. Like, there were applications that I never expected. Like, we used Bondo a lot for prosthetics, for like foam covers, trying to make everything look good and smooth and solid. So that was always fun. I have money, I'm not free to use it. Yes. Oh my gosh, it was so great. It really was. I remember whenever I was doing my clinic hours, we had to have clinic hours before we could graduate. I made a leg for a guy completely on my own. Like the practitioner I was working with, he was fantastic, and I miss him more than anything. He made me do it completely on my own, and whenever the guy walked out of the clinic, I started crying. And my practitioner was like, that is what we work for. That is the feeling. But unfortunately, around the time I did the whole TwitchCon thing, it was a very, very bad work situation. It ended up going from funny banter and jokes and stuff like that to an incredibly abusive environment. And whenever it became physically abusive, I knew I had to get out of there. And unfortunately, I worked there for a year, and it scarred me. And at this point, I can't even walk into an OMP clinic. I'm terrified to apply, just because the field is, I think it's like 85% male, and I can't go back into that environment. Not right now, at least. Oh, no, it's fine. It's like, back then, it was something I absolutely could not talk about. It was honestly incredibly traumatizing, but I ended up going to therapy for it. I got some incredibly good advice. It's like, if you can talk about it, it means that you're healing from it. So I'm hoping if I talk about it enough, it'll become something that is less scary to think about, if that makes any sense. And I'm so sorry if I'm like trauma dumping. I swear I'm not trying to do that, and I can absolutely stop if that's making you uncomfortable. But it was nice. It was a very, very fun experience. It was a very fun job. It just was not with the right person. So I'm hoping that I will heal enough where I'm able to take that path again and maybe go back into OMP, because helping people really does feel good. I mean, it makes me feel better that I have the skills that I can help someone. because I don't have a whole lot of skills, but I can do crafting. I can absolutely do that. So, no, no, not at all. It would have been a few years back, but it's been coming up on 2 years since I quit. So I am all good at this point. I'm gonna blow this out. I'm gonna cut off this excess wax because it's making it kind of difficult to see what I'm doing. And I also kind of like need to get in there and it's not letting me do that. Where is my knife? Oh shoot, my knife is all the way in the other room. That's fine. Let's see. Can I attach you? And thank you. Great. Oh, sweet. It'll just tear off. Okay. Back in business. Cool, cool, cool. And then a little bit more. It's not the prettiest way to do it. The candle is not very pretty anymore, but that is okay because it is functional still. I'm gonna let that harden for a second and get some water. But yeah, no, it was a very, very fun field. One that I did not know existed. So I actually discovered OMP in like 2015. I was at Disney. I was working at Disney and I saw quite a few amputees there, which surprised me. I don't know why it surprised me, but we saw quite a few amputees there. And hold on. And it made me think one day, and I was like, I kind of wonder how they get these. And this was back whenever I was super into cosplay, and I was like, I wonder if people just build these. Because for some reason that thought did not compute with me. I'm like, oh, I guess people just find these off the shelf. No, absolutely not. These are completely custom. Most of them. There are some that can be bought off the shelf, especially with orthotics. But I looked into it a little bit more and found that there were schools for it, went to school for it, and it was history. There's something about this costume that's pretty. I think that's the point now. So actually, I find it very interesting. I want to show you. I don't know how much you know about Dark Souls and this character in particular. Aldrich is actually, if I'm remembering correctly, Aldrich is a parasite. So like I guess like from here down. Oh, I don't know why I did that. You can't see my mouse pointer. Let's see. Okay. So like from here down, this is all Aldrich. But from here up is a character named Gwendolyn. And Gwendolyn is actually a prince. So I like to look at it as all of this is Aldrich. All of this is gross and not very nice and maggots and but from up here, I already have like all of this. This is like a nice black fabric. The one that's on the inside is going to be lace. This is all lace here. There's some gold beads and gold trim. All of this is going to be nice and opulent, but down here it's just like ugh, gross. So I am very excited to see how that gets implemented because I don't have that planned out yet. And I know I should. I have oh my gosh, I have like 12 days. I have less than 2 weeks to get this completely done. And I think I could do it, but it's like this upper section is what's kind of bothering me. I'm trying to pattern this out now, and it's not going as I planned, unfortunately, and I kind of hate that, but we're gonna figure it out. But that's kind of where I'm at the moment, where this is pretty much all figured out. I got the tail, like the base of the tail sorted, so I'm happy with that. That was kind of what I was worried about, but now that that's done, this is gonna be my problem. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna wing it. It's gonna be good. But yeah, that's kind of the plan. We'll see how it goes though. Alright, let's melt this down a little bit. Let's smooth out those edges for absolutely no reason other than aesthetics and light. Okay. Back to it, back to it. Believe in me. Oh, you're so sweet. I believe in you. I am very excited to see what you make too. I need to find your socials and follow you. I don't know if they allow links, but if you want to drop links where I can follow you, I will absolutely do so. The only social I don't really do is Twitter. So if you have Insta, maybe even Facebook, it kind of depends with Facebook. I don't really check Facebook very often. But if you have an Insta you want to drop, please do so. I would absolutely see progress. If you don't mind. If you would rather keep it private, I will not pressure you in the least. I go into streams sometimes where the streamer is like, everyone drop your socials so I can follow you and socialize. And I'm like, I cannot do that. I am terrified of talking to people. So don't feel pressured. Okay. Let's see. Cool. I follow. Awesome. All right. Thank you for that. Just like seeing costumes. Same. I absolutely love watching the process behind it. That's kind of one of the big things that I miss about working in OMP is that I could implement crazy things from cosplay into it. And I actually did a few times. And it was the best. It was the absolute best. I think one of my favorite memories was in class, we were allowed to just take liberties with what we were doing. We can make it creative because, I mean, we didn't have a patient. We had to make it for specifically. So if we wanted to decorate something in a certain way, we could, as long as it didn't like affect the structure of the device. So whenever we were doing prosthetics, sometimes you can make so it's like, let's see. So you have, like, say that you have the leg here. This is the part that's amputated. This is all like a pylon. Then you have a foot or a knee or something like that. All of that. Up here is the socket itself. And whenever you're doing the socket, you can make it out of a few different things. So you can make it out of resin. You can make it out of plastic. You can, God, in the old days, they used to make them like out of wood. Some people do like leather. It's just a variety of things. So we were working with resin this one particular time. And I went up to my instructors and I'm like, so question, I can have fun with this, right? I can do what I want with this, right? And they're like, yes, as long as it doesn't, you know, as long as the structural integrity is still there, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I went to the dollar store and I bought glitter. And oh my gosh, I cannot express to you enough how much fun it was to experiment with different glitters, different dyes, different materials. One of the things I regret is that I always wanted to make a leg that had leaves like this in them, just for fun. So, bro, I had a blast, like tie-dyeing. I played with glitter. I threw just anything that I could in the resin, and it didn't affect it. I was very, very careful with my proportions and learned how to do all that, and it was so much fun. And I really regret that I didn't have more fun with it, because I was worried. I was like, I'm gonna get a bad grade for this. I can't go crazy, and I wish that I had, because I don't have the resources to make that kind of stuff now. But oh, it was so much fun. I definitely miss it. 10 out of 10. But it is pretty cool. You can do transfers with some things. So a lot of times, if you've seen, I know a lot of kids have them specifically that you'll see. It's like these little tiny, it's called an AFO. It's like, it goes like on the bottom of their foot, then comes up and up around the leg. That's called an AFO. It's an ankle foot orthosis. And a lot of times kids will get them in like a clear plastic, and then they'll put little transfers on there, like little sticker transfers. And those were so much fun to make, because it's a very specific process you have to do to make sure you get no wrinkles and it actually adheres properly and all that good stuff. And they were like, hey, we're going to order some more transfers. Do you guys want to help us pick out designs? Our teachers were like that. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So we have fun with that. We used to do like little patchwork pieces too. It was a good time. It was a good time. But unfortunately, the clinic that I worked at, they only used like black plastic. They never did any transfers. They never worked with resin. It was very dull and very sad. But school was a ton of fun. So I count that as a great experience. Plus the clinician that I worked with during school was always having fun with adventurous stuff. They're like, yeah, the patient just said have fun with it, so go for it.